In connection with this amendment and this concept that this amendment displays for this House, I would like to relate to you a speech made just yesterday by Governor Briscoe that said, "I urge the legislature not to impose on our courts the burden of re-evaluating every action of the state's pollution control agencies, especially under a broad policy mandate that affords no concrete guide for judicial action."
You are saying that so long as these agencies that have been created by the state, that have been created by the U.S. government, whose standards may be well below that which is necessary to protect the people of the state of Texas, that we cannot go beyond that, we cannot go beside that. So long as there is substantial compliance with that, we can do nothing further.
Not quite, Mr. Garcia. What I'm saying is that there may be an agency, either big or little, who is not having adequate standards. What I'm saying is that you have grabbed for the wrong remedy when you permit the 400 million people in this world and make them potential plaintiffs in 254 additional state agencies in this state.
The purpose of this committee amendment is to give citizens and other interested groups, the Attorney General, DAs, the right to go into court and say, Air Board, we're suffocating down here in Harris County, and those rules and regulations won't do for us. If you adopt the Hutchinson Amendment, you have effectively gutted this bill. You have effectively taken the power away from citizens and other groups to use the provisions of this act. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, and members, I'll say to you that if this amendment goes on, this bill is meaningless, worthless, a shell.
People do have remedies against state agencies that do not comply with the law, just like they do against any of us when we do not comply with the law. What Mr. Bigham failed to tell you is that it may very well be true that you go through the process then of promulgating whether or not, or of litigating whether or not the state agency has complied in its standards with the standards set in this act. Now, what are the standards set in this act? Whatever the 254 courts of this state, and they all don't need to be the same, say they are. Then what does the plaintiff do? He then goes back against the defendant. He tries him over and over and over, and he wrings him out, and he'll ultimately win. He'll bankrupt him. And this bill, in its present form, will bankrupt this state and the economy and the economic system that we have.